Hi, good evening. Welcome back to DWP Corruption, Part 5. Right, Alan, we was talking about the corruption with the solicitors before we left, and I mean, upon that note, the one thing that I came across in the week with doing some research with one of the other campaigners, we found that common purpose is a broad spectrum problem with this. Did you know that? Because what we found was Rag and Co solicitors from Colmore Row in Birmingham are graduates to Common Purpose. And upon looking through the internet, we come across another solicitor, Pinsnip Mason, who are also Common Purpose graduates. And what we found was there's an exchange programme between lawyers, solicitors on training courses, etc., that are part of these two solicitors. Upon speaking to Brian Gerrish in early parts of the week, I happened to mention this, and we're putting a programme together whereby we're uncovering the corruption and the collusion with common purpose solicitors. And as I say, Pinsnip Mason came up. Does that name ring a bell at all?
It does, yeah.
You're joking?
Pinsnip Mason.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's in actual fact. Can I just deal with this, and I'll just point this out.
Yeah,
We'll deal
yeah.
with them.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
a valid point, Pinsnip Mason. Yeah. Strange you should mention them because, as I've said with the father, these documents are at the bottom of the first DVDs we made, and you must look at claim number BN 200413 and go straight to paragraph 24, and I'll read. I am informed by my solicitor and believe that during the course of their investigation, the police discovered that on the 31st of October 1997, the murder year, the year David King was murdered, Michael Archer purchased a property known as 8 Kingfisher Drive, Colwich, in the defendant's name, the defendant being Andrew Joseph Brown, a prison officer at Winston Green, for the sum of £145,000 without any mortgage. The monies were made up of clients' funds obtained by misappropriation of the accounts of Archer Adams. And you will read A, B, C, paragraph 24, right up to E. And it reads like telephone numbers. I'll just pick on one which is rather amusing. I find it rather amusing. There is a cheque for the sum of £23,000 paid to AJ Brown on the 3rd of October 1997, the murder years. The defendant admits receiving this sum of about £20,000 which they used on holiday. So, what are they saying? That he agreed to murder David King, and after he murdered him, they gave him £20,000 as a sweetener to go on his holidays. But I'll refer back to the paragraph that I've just read earlier on. On the 31st of October 1997, the solicitor was talking, the solicitor's partner who stole the money, was talking to the police officer in charge of the case a year before the trial and discussed the fact that the solicitor had brought with stolen money an house for prison officer Andrew Joseph Brown a year before the trial. So why wasn't all this dealt with? In actual fact, this was dealt with in a county court 2 years after the trial. An unlawful process, a kangaroo court, an act of treason. And in actual fact, what Martin just said, the perpetrators of this crime, on behalf of the Law Society took this charge out in a kangaroo court, a court that had no precedence to deal with the matter, receiving stolen money. Browns was never charged for receiving stolen money. The evidence was kept from the court. The father received £25,000 and was entered as a victim. The son was never mentioned, yet all this money comes to £600,000, and he got it for the murder of David King. And Martin said Pinsnip Mason. In actual fact, the name, when they committed this act of treason in the county courts, was Pinsett, Curtis and Biddle.
Good grief.
Pinsett, Curtis and Biddle. There you go.
So what you're saying is then they've changed the name of a way of not being detected.
Well, the Law Society
Got
wrote
to
to me, the indemnity fund, when I pointed out to the indemnity fund that these people had been paid as victims because Andrew Brown, although he received £600,000, the Law Society stole off its members, other solicitors, £616,000 that they gave to Andrew Joseph Brown so he could pay back into the court as if it was a proceeds of crime court under the Proceeds of Crime Act. And I've got the proof of it. The father was paid £25,000 as a victim, which means he got £50,000, and his son got £1,200,000. And it was Princess Curtis, and they call them Pinsett Mason. It's the same firm.
Yeah,
Are they in
yeah.
Birmingham, Coleman Road, Martin?
Yes, yes they are. 55 Colmore Road, Rag and Go.
Well,
And
this
I've
is
just
three.
read there,
Number
yes,
3, Coleman
number
Road.
3. Neighbours,
Nice, isn't it?
come on down.
Nice. Nice.
So therefore, it goes without saying, doesn't it, that the collusion between these solicitors, common purpose training, the corruption with the judicial system, including the police, the councils, DWP, Job Centre Plus, doesn't matter who it is, we're together as one.
Are these the same firm of solicitors that deal with Dudley Council, Martin?
Definitely. That's
Ra-
Rag and
Rag
Co.
and Co.
Rag and Co deal with Dudley Council. So there's a link between the corrupt solicitors, and there's a link with the corruption and the collusion between Pinsett Mason and Rag and Co from the point of view of the training graduates for common purpose, which is what's being looked at this moment in time to lead beyond authority, which is obviously Julia Middleton's book.
So,
Says it all.
so this is the reason when you try to take criminal action, civil action or criminal action against the solicitor, you can't find a solicitor that will take them on.
No, because they're one of their very own. It's one of their own.
This is
This is what common purpose is about. The graduates are becoming part of the solicitors. They're becoming part of a corrupt clique of solicitors working for the councils, and nobody in the right mind will take them on because of the corruption, the collusion, and how deep they are involved with it.
This is the memorandum that the Law Society have with the police. That is the body that is set up on an Act of Parliament. They've given the Law Society a charter to investigate solicitors. The OSS, the investigative body of solicitors, have a memorandum of understanding with the police. That is, that they claim not to investigate criminal matters, but they have a duty to. They've got a care of conduct to the victims of solicitors on a suggestion of impropriety. They've got to investigate, then they pass that evidence to the police, but they claim, as most victims are told, we do not investigate crime, you've got to report it back.
But it
And
goes.
and then the police don't investigate the office of solicitors because they claim there's an article of understanding.
It goes deeper than that though, because the DWP and their own solicitors that work from Caxton House are also common purpose trained. They're there also to assist the solicitors like Rag and Co, Pinsett Mason. You've got the Law Society who are there to back up the actions of the corrupt solicitors. What chance have we got?
About nil. Those are my... About none.
Absolutely impossible.
So this is why people like O'Brien and Vaz,
Get away with murder.
they put them into the position where you can't get past them. To
Can't.
even if you get a solicitor or a barrister who would take them on,
Can't go wrong.
you can't get past the likes of Vaz, O'Brien, the police who are in the top officers. We're not saying
So we can
that the
take
copper
it,
who knocks the door wouldn't have this belief. If you told him that, he'd be insulted.
and this is why you're banging your head up against a brick wall. It takes us back to the very, very, very first video, doesn't it? Where I opened the conversation with Tony Blair, Gordon Brown. It was in the paper, in the paper about the Polesworth situation with that house again,
Yes.
whereby the judicial system are put in place at the request of Blair and Brown. They're Freemasons, they're common purpose trained and graduates, so they're paid not as solicitors or lawyers, but to lie through the bloody teeth.
They're untouchable. Elliot Ness would be turning in his grave. They can get people like Al Capone, but you can't get people like these.
Close, finish, we've said it all.
Organised crime.